Hey everybody, Dan here with Fin Feather for Outfitters. Today we're looking at a Rossi RM64. Very cool revolver. When Rossi got back into producing revolvers, they expanded the line, and this is one of the models that expanded. It is very good looking. It has a 4-inch barrel, and it is similar and yet different than the RP63. We're going to talk about it, so let's do it. The Rossi RM64 is a .357 6-shot double-action revolver that is very good looking. As I mentioned, it has a 4-inch barrel. It's a mid-size revolver, making its way to a full-size revolver. And the reason I say that is because I often consider a 6-inch barrel a full-size revolver, but this definitely has some weight behind it. It's constructed of carbon steel with the frame, cylinder, and barrel, so you can feel that. That would tame that .357 recoil quite well. It also has a solid underlug that is full, and that would also add to the weight, once again taming that recoil. Check out that grip. It's a rubber grip with some finger grooves to get a good grip on the revolver. Push open cylinder, and there are the 6 chambers. We take a look at the forcing cone and the yoke, the timing hand, the bolt stop, the firing pin. It's all there with this carbon steel revolver. The sight picture is a bit different. It has adjustable rear sights and a ramped front sight that is removable. You could remove it right there and perhaps put a night sight in there. And that is different than the RP63 that has a tunneled sight. And so that's an advantage with the RM64. And of course the barrel length is different, the grip's different. Another difference is the top strap. You'll notice that the RM64 has a serrated top strap right here. People say that cuts down on the glare. I never really noticed, but I'm pretty sure it would do that. Nice looking revolver. Now the differences. The MSRP on this is $607. As where this is in the 400s, but at the fin, you're looking at under $500 for this. And this thing performs like a champion. Now, I believe this would perform just as well. Why do I say that? Well, the internal components are very similar. You look at the trigger on this and the trigger on this, and then the trigger action is very similar. I showed clear here. And that double action is nice, and the single action is pretty amazing. And one of the things I really like with this is that wide trigger, very wide. And it gives you great finger control. You feel like you have complete control of your shots, as you should, but it just adds to that. And we'll see that the RM64 trigger is just as wide. If we look at the barrel length, well, we have a 3-inch barrel and a 4-inch barrel. Perhaps different purposes. Rossi marketed this for CCW, as where this certainly could be CCW, but I doubt it. I'm sure somebody out there carries this. But the trigger action is very much the same. That single action trigger is great. And they both have a firing pin on the hammer. And I love that just because it's a little more historical, a little more old time, if you will, but it also uses a hammer block. Now, a hammer block is an internal safety that functions like a transfer bar safety, except you can't see it. It's internal inside the frame here, and it will drop as the trigger is pulled, allowing the firing pin to set off, to fire the round. And that is the safety. So there really is not a concern with having a firing pin making contact with a primer because it's being blocked until the trigger is pulled, much like many Smith & Wesson models. But overall, I think this is a fine revolver. This thing is great. There's no doubt about it. If you want another Rossi revolver, which has a wonderful reputation. My first revolver was a Rossi many years ago. And when they stopped making them, then came back with these 2 models and several others, I was very much impressed, and I really dig them. And I think they're budget priced. You compare the MSRP on this 607, that's the MSRP, under 500 bucks, as I said. Compared to some of the other makers out there, you'll notice that this is much less money. Are you skimping on quality? I really don't think so. I think you're doing just fine because it's made quality, and they're not rookies with revolvers. The differences include the grips are different, the top strap's different, the rear sight is different, the material, stainless steel and carbon steel, that's different, and the barrel length is different. As far as the internals are concerned, they're pretty identical. You should receive identical shooting impressions, and if that's the case, which I truly believe it is, this thing is a winner. Do you love stainless steel? Do you love a darker revolver? Well, everybody has their preferences. Most revolver fans have both, but I think this thing is pretty awesome. And for under 500 bucks, I really believe you can't go wrong. Once again, Dane here with Fin Feather for Outfitters. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.